You know, living alone after 50 has a reputation. People hear that phrase and they immediately jump to conclusions. They imagine a quiet house, empty kitchens, lonely evenings. They picture someone sitting alone in a silent living room with just the television for company. And if you're a woman who's over 50 like I am, people will sometimes say things like this: "Don't you get lonely?" Or, "I don't know how you do it." Have anybody heard that? And then the one that always makes me chuckle is this one: "Well, at least it must be peaceful." And here's the funny thing. They're actually right about the last one. It is peaceful. Because what many people don't realize, especially people who have never lived alone, is that living alone when you hit 50 and beyond can actually become one of the most peaceful, freeing, and surprisingly joyful chapters of life. Now, I know that doesn't mean that life automatically becomes perfect. It doesn't mean that you don't miss people. It doesn't mean that there aren't moments when you wish someone else were around. But something interesting also begins to happen. For the first time in decades, and for me, this was the first time in my life I had ever lived alone, your life completely becomes your own again. I finally stopped waiting for my son to come in the door. You know, you were always waiting for somebody to come in. But the shift that nobody really prepares you for, because when you spent most of your adult life caring for everybody else except yourself, responding to responsibilities and constantly being needed, having your own space again, wow, that can feel like stepping into an entirely new season of life or a new life. I had always lived at home, went to college, had roommates, got married, kids. So to be 63 and finally living alone, wow. Because there is a strange cultural story around living alone, especially for women. If a younger person lives alone, people say, oh, they're independent. If a man lives alone, he's just a bachelor. But when a woman of a certain age lives alone, suddenly people start worrying about her. They'll ask if she's okay, if she's lonely, if she's bored. And I have always found that so fascinating. Because so many of us women, we reach this stage of life after many decades of taking care of people. Children, partners, parents, patients, co-workers, bosses, entire households, 30, 40, 50 years, constantly responding to somebody else's needs. There's always something, am I right? There's a school schedule, a work schedule, kids' activity schedule, family responsibility, always somebody needing help with something, somebody needing advice, somebody needing dinner, somebody needing a lunch pack, somebody needing emotional support. And yes, these roles are very meaningful, but they're also incredibly demanding. Your brain never has a chance to shut off. So when that next chapter begins to quiet down, when the kids grow up, the career shifts, when retirement begins, something else happens. For the first time in a very long time, and maybe the first time ever, you get space. And yeah, that space can be really unfamiliar at first, but it can also become something valuable. I remember when my life first became quieter. I wasn't really prepared for it, but I started noticing some things. At first, the quiet felt a little strange. Like I said, I was constantly waiting for my son to come home. I was used to him in and out of the house. I'm used to the constant activity, the constant noise, a TV always on, his work schedule, people needing things, deadlines, responsibility. So your brain keeps operating in the response mode for decades, always anticipating the next task, always managing the next responsibility. And then suddenly you wake up and the house is quiet. Like one day he's here and the next day he's not. I didn't have to clean his bathroom. I didn't have to remind him to, pick up his stuff. Nobody's asking me, where's the socks? Nobody's asking, can I get them something? No one's calling me from another room asking where something is. And so for a little while, your brain almost doesn't know what to do with that quiet because it's really, really unfamiliar. And then all of a sudden, the quiet stops. It stops feeling empty and it starts feeling peaceful. You begin to realize that that quiet is not loneliness. The quiet is space. And that space allows something very important to come back. You, your thoughts, your preferences, your pace. And so for the first time in years, your mind gets a little bit of room to breathe. And that can feel so refreshing, incredibly refreshing. Because one of the biggest surprises about living alone is how intentional your life can become. When you share space with others, your day is always a little bit negotiated, right? Like who's going to use the kitchen to cook now? Who's using the laundry, right? Somebody else's schedule, somebody else's habits, somebody else's preferences, if you will, and somebody else's routines. But when you live alone, your environment becomes a reflection of you. Like I can actually put something down and it stays there. I can pick up the clutter and it doesn't get cluttered again. Your morning routine, your evening routine, your kitchen, your living room, your music, your pace, everything becomes a choice. You decide when to wake up. You decide when to go to bed. You decide what the house feels like, what the energy is like. And you decide what the day looks like. And there's something really special about that and very empowering. For so many of us women, this is the first time since their 20s, or in my case, ever, that they're designing their own life again. We're not responding. We're not managing. We're not juggling. We're designing. And that is a powerful shift. For me, I repainted bedrooms. I repainted my office. I was able to get new furniture and do things the way I wanted. Because when you get to design your own life, you begin to pay attention to what actually makes you feel calm and what energizes you and what doesn't, what you enjoy and what you don't, what you want more of, what you want less of. It becomes a process of quiet discovery and rediscovering yourself. Because something else that often happens during this stage of life is the rediscovery. For so many decades, most women define themselves by your role. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a nurse, you're a teacher, you're a caregiver, you're a daughter, you're an employee, a manager, a provider. All very important roles and all very necessary. But underneath all of these roles, there was still a person with interests, a person with curiosity, a person with dreams, ideas, things that you maybe didn't have time for. And living alone can often create the perfect environment to rediscover those things. Maybe it's learning something new. Maybe it's traveling somewhere different. Maybe it's starting a creative hobby. Maybe it's building something online. Maybe it's volunteering. Maybe it's reading more. Maybe it's reading again. Or maybe it's simply having time to think. Because this stage of life can quietly become one of the most interesting personal growth seasons that a person ever experiences. I know it has been for me. Because you're not trying to become somebody new. You're simply reconnecting with parts of yourself that got buried when you were busy raising a family and building careers. Parts of yourself that were always there. They just didn't always have the space to come forward. And so there's a piece that I didn't expect that came with living alone. So when people ask me if living alone is lonely, I usually just smile, because loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness means that you're feeling disconnected. Solitude means you're having space, that you have space. And so many of us women discover that solitude can actually feel very nourishing. Your home becomes a place of calm, a place where you can rest, a place where you can think, a place where you can recharge. It's a place where you can be completely you. There's no expectations. And there's no performance required. And that is very liberating. You're not trying to manage anybody, just you. So after decades of constant responsibility, that kind of peace, wow, it is pretty powerful. We come to treasure it. I know I do, because it becomes a form of freedom. And so when I look at the bigger picture, and that's really what this whole entire conversation is about, around retirement and reinvention, it has really been about the bigger picture, because retirement just isn't the end of a career. It's the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where you can finally have the freedom to ask these very important questions. What do I want my life to look like now? Not 20 years ago, 5 years ago, not when the kids were little, not when your career demanded everything from you, but now. Now. So yeah, living alone for some women becomes the space where they begin answering those questions, where they begin to grow, and where they begin to redesign their routines. They explore new ideas, learn new skills, rebuild a life in ways that are meaningful, that you couldn't do before. And sometimes it becomes the most peaceful chapter that you've ever lived. So if you find yourself living alone after 50 or beyond, or heading into that stage of life, I hope that you begin to see it not as something to fear or the end, but as something to explore, something to embrace, because it can be a time of independence, a time of rediscovery, a time of quiet confidence, and a time where you reconnect with yourself in ways that you may not have had time for before. And sometimes it can become a time of unexpected joy. And that's really the message behind this entire series. Retirement isn't just about stopping work. It's about reclaiming your life. And sometimes the quiet moments, that's where life begins again. Thanks for being here.